If you've always known that you could be more, that you could do more, but you feel stuck, you feel like something is holding you back, what I want to do in this video is that I want to reveal why you're feeling stuck, why you are being held back. And I want to show you what you can do to move forward. Now, it's not your fault if you are being held back. It's actually by design. It's been in the making for the past 80 years. And what I want to talk about in this video is how our entire society has been designed, has been engineered to keep you in that space. Now, this is not conspiracy theory. This is hard facts, and it's not a good thing or it's not a bad thing either. They're just facts. And once you are aware of these facts, it allows you to choose to either continue the behavior or to choose to end it. The choice is yours. Before, you did not have a choice, but now, from now on, you will have a choice to either go forward in the direction where you feel numb or to go forward in the direction where you feel empowered. So with that being said, let's get started. So everything started in the 1940s, where the Germans and the Americans and the rest of the world were at war together during the Second World War. And the Germans and the Americans both were trying to find ways to influence the other side, to influence the soldiers and the minds of the other side so that they would be able to win the war more easily, quickly, and without bloodshed as much as possible, because they just wanted to end it. But here's what happened. They realized that the most powerful weapon that they had in their arsenal was the mind of the soldiers, and that if they could play with the minds of the soldiers, they could win the war way faster and way easier. And so what the Germans did is that they started to capture various American prisoners, and then they would literally do some brainwashing experiments on them, some hypnosis experiments on them, and send them back on the other side, and then they would do terrible acts like planting bombs and so on and so forth. And the Americans had no clue what was happening. The Allies had no clue what was happening. Why was it that all of a sudden people that were in good standing were turning against their country, was turning against their side? And so it took some time, but they slowly realized that these people were being manipulated, mentally speaking. And so the CIA and other branches of the government started to develop secret programs to influence the minds of soldiers of the enemy. So there was different things like Artichoke Project, like Alice in Wonderland, so on and so forth, that was created. Those are different techniques that were created. Keep in mind this word, Alice in Wonderland, very, very important. And so what the Americans did is that they started to capture various, enemy like Germans, and bring them into interrogation room and do some really, really terrible things to these folks until they learn exactly what worked and how they could influence the mind of these people. And this is very important to understand why we are where we are here right now. And one of the techniques that they use is called the Alice in Wonderland technique, which is outlined in various declassified documents. And this Alice in Wonderland techniques is something that you will see everywhere around you at all times. Let me explain. So the Alice in Wonderland technique is basically a technique where you make the person extremely confused. So in that time of war, what they would do is that they would bring big flashlights and flash the light on the eyes of the soldiers, bring some sounds, really, really loud, terrible sounds, shake the bed, flood the room. They would bring terrible confusion to these soldiers, which was almost like torture. Well, it was torture, right? And then there would be a hypnotist that would come in, and they would start creating some really confusion word salad statement, like a pink elephant is everything that you need to think of when purple skies are in the sand. They make no sense. And so that subject was extremely confused. And here's what's beautiful about the human mind. When your mind is so confused, all it wants to do is grab to something solid. And so what they discovered is that when they confuse the mind enough, the next suggestion would be what the mind would hold on to. So what they did is that they confused the soldier's mind a lot to a point where nothing was holding anymore. And then they introduced the statement, the things that they wanted that soldier to do, i.e., go do this treasonous act, right? And because this statement made sense, because it was logical, because the mind craved solidity, then the mind holds on to that solid statement, to the thing that feels secure and safe. And this is exactly what happens every day of our lives through social media, in TV, in advertising, everywhere around us. If you look at TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and you just scroll, you will see a series of absolutely ridiculous videos that make no sense, that 10 years ago, you would be like, what the fuck is wrong with these people putting this kind of crap online? It makes no sense. Who's dumb enough to watch this shit? Yet, we've grown so accustomed to this thing that it's just, this confusion just goes into the back of our mind. And what happens now is that we are on a total confusion loop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until there's one thing that makes sense. That could be on a scroll feed. We scroll, 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 and then there's a political ad, or there's an ad for a product, or there's an ad for a motivational speaker or whatnot, right? There's a video about that. So there's stupidity, 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 something good. Stupidity, 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 something good. And that is there to reinforce the something good message, something solid message. And this is how our entire society is there to keep us stuck. Now, this confusion technique, this Alice in Wonderland technique, was designed to be temporary. It was not designed to be something that was there to go for years and years and years. When it was designed initially with these soldiers, with these prisoners of war, it was intense. It was maybe a few days, a few weeks, a few months, but then it was finished and they went to work. For us right now, it is not as intense. It is much more relaxed. You know, there's no danger that is here, but it is 24/7, 7 days a week. And therefore, it has a bigger toll on our nervous system long term, especially if we look at children that are raised with this from the time where they're born. And so this is a problem that we have right now. This is the reason why you feel so numb. This creates such confusion in your mind that it is difficult for us to start to grab to something solid afterwards. The only way we're able to is to scroll, because this is what we've been programmed to do. So how can you break free from this? By the way, if you like this kind of content, please go ahead, like and subscribe. My job is to help you move forward in life. My job is to help you grow and move the needle in the right direction. I'm a coach and I'm here for you. But I'd like to go ahead and share with you right now how we can stop this negative programming and move forward. So one of the key elements that is outlined in every single declassified document that talks about hypnosis, that talks about brainwashing, that talks about these different things, is that compliance must be obtained in order for a person, for a soldier, for a subject to be hypnotized, to be brainwashed, to be in that situation. Okay? Now, in these war situations that they had before, they obtained the compliance by giving some substances to the people that would, make them do things. That was one way of doing it. There was other ways of obtaining compliance too, but there was always something that was done with something also called like a yes chain, There was always something that was done to make sure that the soldier was compliant. If the soldier was not compliant, if the person was not compliant, they were eliminated because it was a waste of time to try to do this with them. It would not work. So they were just pushed aside. But with us, what we need to do is we need to understand how we give our compliance all the time. We give our compliance by going on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, or watching the TV. I mean, if you just watch TV, right? You watch advertising. These advertising are so insanely stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Bam, something that makes sense. Advertising, buy the product. Look at the kind of shows we have. A lot of stupid things that make no sense. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Advertising. Confusion, confusion, confusion. Advertising. And so the way to break free from it is to take away the compliance, to take away the agreement. And the way we do that is by simply noticing it. By simply noticing that these videos are there to create confusion within your mind. This is clearly outlined within the various declassified documents, and it's something that you did not want the subject to do because that would break everything. But for us, it's the same thing. What we need to do is that when we see these videos, when we see this content, when we see these texts or these Facebook wall posts or whatever it is that you are doing, they make no sense, they're confusing. You need to consciously tell yourself, this is there to confuse. This is there to confuse. I will not be confused by this. And I refuse to watch this. I refuse to be manipulated by this. And here's the thing. The dangerous content is the content that feels like it's not dangerous. That's the content that is dangerous because that's the content that is often most ridiculous, most confusing. Let me give you an example just to really drive the point home. The other day, I was watching I was on YouTube scrolling, right? And I saw this guy who said, harassment is when you do this, and then he tapped the girl's butt, right? And then I can't remember what happened, but then he was turned around and she went ahead and tapped him in a private part. And I was like, what just happened? It was ridiculous. I don't make justice to the ridiculousness of this video, but it was absolutely stupid and ridiculous. And I laughed, but I should not have laughed. But right there, I told myself, see, I'm going through this confusion loop, and I broke it right there. And what we need to do is that we need to do this consciously for at least 1 month. And I'm telling you, this is not easy. But when you do it, it's going to change your life forever. It's going to take you about 1 month of going about your day and consciously noticing these things. And once you consciously notice it, it's going to break the programming within you. And what's going to happen in 30 days? The fog is going to lift. The clarity is going to come. You are going to be a new person. You are going to be able to move forward. I promise you. If you like this kind of content, please go ahead, like, subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Cheers, and bye for now.